Greetings, everyone. Welcome to a captivating journey into the realm of art, media, and design careers. Today, we're embarking on an exploration of the dynamic and ever-evolving creative industries that shape our culture and society. Creativity knows no bounds, and within the next few moments, we'll delve into the diverse opportunities that await those who dare to dream, innovate, and tell compelling stories. Our distinguished panelists, true experts, and trailblazers in the art, media, and design sectors are here to share their remarkable journeys and insights. From visual arts to media production to graphic design to music, engineering, producing, storytelling, this session promises to be an inspiring canvas of experiences that can guide you on your own creative path. I'm thrilled to introduce our esteemed panelists, individuals who have harnessed their creativity to leave a mark on their respective fields. We have Jessica Persady, who is an audio engineer and producer working with many artists in the country. Christoph Edwards, who is a multidisciplinary creative producer, graphic designer, a junior designer at Inkbox. And Malik Hines, who is the CEO of design and brand marketing agency, The Invisible Company, and co-founder of local Toronto cafe, Tiny Cloud Cafe. Each of our panelists brings a unique perspective and a wealth of experiences that will undoubtedly inspire aspiring creatives like yourself. Hi, everyone. Kwaku, excited to moderate this conversation on the art, media, and design industry for Take Our Kids to Work Day with some special guests. We have joining us Malik, Jess, Christoph. Good to see you. The first question we'll start off with is, how do art, media, and design careers contribute to our society and culture? And what are some of the most exciting and innovative opportunities available in these creative industries?
Hi, my name is Christoph Edwards, and I am a graphic designer, editor, producer, or just in general, multimedia creative. And I'm excited to talk about taking kids to work day. Arts, media design, like literally, that contributes to every single thing since like human mankind has like became a thing. As you can see all around us, our surroundings, our environment, the things that we do, interact, et cetera, that's all actually design. It's all art, is what you can say, quote unquote. It's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. Like basically everything that's in our minds that we design and like have these ideas, we put it in person. And it's a very, 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 very important aspect of human life where it kind of just shapes the way how we live our life, shapes life. It shapes the things that we do and how we strive forward as a society. So, and then one of the most exciting and innovative opportunities that you can find in the creative industries is that there's actually quite a lot. There's a huge tree branch of like things that you can be as just like one person. So for example, like if you want to be a graphic designer like myself, you can also get into UI design. You can get into all different types of design that requires just digital design and stuff like that. And there's a lot of opportunities along the way. And honestly, you can create a lot of things too. You can, and you don't even have to be just one thing, which is the exciting part. You can be multiple things. Each this aspect of design on their own, they can intertwine with other things. So as a graphic designer, you can also be a motion designer. You could be a web designer. You could be a 3D designer. You could be all types of things, and they can also integrate and put into other types of design, media, creativity, art, et cetera. And that's powerful. So that's just basically about it.
Hi, I'm Malik. I am the founder of the Invisible Company and the co-founder of the Tiny Cloud Cafe. And I'm here to talk about Take Your Kids to Work Day. I think, just going based off of what Christoph said, there's it's creativity and expression and just reflecting on like societal values kind of speaks a lot with art. And I think there's a lot of opportunities within the space when it comes to new technologies that are emerging. You're seeing companies like Meta playing around with like augmented reality and virtual reality and things like that. And I think it gives the opportunity to kind of immerse ourselves in new experiences that didn't exist before.
Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a producer engineer from Toronto, and I'm excited to talk about Take Your Kids to Work Day. And even to add on to both of what you said, I feel like those types of careers within the art field allow people to build community and allow people to become inspired by other people. Like a lot of artists find what they like and what they don't like just by looking at other artists' work and how the way people do certain things. Like, when you see like certain types of prints or arts that you like and you kind of resonate with, and it allows like-minded people to come together and build that community and like give a uniqueness like to Toronto, for example. Like what does art look like to Toronto is different than what art looks like somewhere elsewhere, like in the States, or even like in certain states, or certain areas of the GTA. Like art in Toronto is different than art in Brampton and Mississauga and et cetera, you know? So it allows like individuality for each sort of sector.
Great responses, and how sharing how art spans across the different mediums and even like regions, and how it looks different throughout, and especially for that when we think through the creative journey storytelling. Well, next question I kind of want to ask is, as experts and professionals in the art, media, and design sectors, can you share your personal journeys and experiences that led you to pursue careers in these fields, as well as, what are some of the key lessons you've learned along the way?
Well, what's called for me personally, I've always been into I started off doing content creation like on YouTube many years ago. I'm sure Kwaku, you'll remember that, and working what's called with the radio station and doing all types of things. And for me, that was always just expression and expressing the things that I enjoy and what I like. And it kind of catered towards my passions and where I wanted to be in my life. And you helps kind of cultivate community. And it's that's what kind of led me down the career path that I've chosen. That's why I created the Invisible Company, to kind of create more opportunities for people in the creative space in that respect. And so that's just me.
For me, I think it was knowing that I wanted to be in the media industry in some shape or form and not really knowing where I fit in. And like going to Ryerson and doing RTA, like I took a bunch of different courses and did a bunch of different things from like multicam to single cam to audio. And I actually stuck with audio, but at first I hated it because I was like, I don't know how to use these softwares. I don't know how to record somebody. I've never done it before. And I feel like it's a lot of trial and error until you figure out what works for you, because after a while I didn't realize that I can connect music to audio and like be in the field that I'm in right now. So I'm like, oh, like I can actually record my friends, I can make music, I can do all these things and make it work into a career path that I actually am passionate about. So I think that's how it was, all just trial and error for me. You know, it was just figuring out what I like and what I don't like and using that to my advantage.
I think what's like really interesting about what Jess just said is it's kind of like diversifying her skills and kind of expanding her tool set of what she has to offer, and embracing failure, what works and what doesn't work, and what she likes and what she doesn't like. And I think that's all part of the creative process.
Yeah, I was gonna say for myself, I've always been into like the arts since I was like a little kid. I always been fascinated by drawing. I've always been fascinated by a lot of things where by like fictional stuff like cartoons, anime, TV shows, video games, and honestly that became like my third like parent in my life. That like actually raised me as like a creative as a kid up until now. And since then, like I've always wanted to get into art, drawing, and stuff like that. And as the years came on, I also kind of got a huge interest in animation. Like, how do they animate this? Like, who's the studio? What's the frame rates like who's the animators, et cetera, et cetera. And then from there on out, like up until high school, I discovered like more things within that kind of realm where I've done graphic designing. That was the first time I got introduced to like the Adobe suite, where like you have Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, and then I kind of got familiar with it, had a lot of fun with it, tried new things with different classes in high school. And then from there, when I graduated from high school, I decided, okay, you know what, like I can get a bit more into this, a lot more deeper. And then I went from art and animation and slowly kind of like slid into more so like graphic designing and video editing and motion graphics editing and all that good stuff. And then I went to Ryerson for that for 4 years, had a lot of fun with that, and I kind of like discovered a lot more of a broad branch of like things that I have a lot of interest in. And from there on out, like that's where I kind of like pursued a career into graphic designing and editing. And that's just my life now. And I'm always striving to grow even more as a designer, as a creative, and get better and design and make my own craft from there on out. So that's how I became myself as a designer within the media industry.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those personal journeys and the different it's almost like, playing with crayons in a bit, and throughout your journey and how you grew up, experiencing different things, experiencing different stories, the different skill sets that you've all been picking up have contributed to you picking up this career that's, a lot of people, you have to be creative to sort of understand how to thrive and prosper in these creative industries. So it's really helpful to hear your personal journeys. Our next question, I kind of want to frame it in a certain light. A theme I'm hearing in our conversation is university, specialized training, and how that has been a big part of all of your journey. So but a lot, I could relate to in terms of going to media school, but something that I could also relate to is getting a lot of those skill sets and experiences outside of school, university not necessarily being the main part of, our creative journey. And so thinking through the different aspects of not only relying on university. So think of the young people that don't have to go to university, don't have to, any specialized training, where are the other areas they can develop skills in the art, media, and design industry. And so the question is thinking about, that scope on, outside of university spaces. What advice do you have for young individuals interested in pursuing the arts, and how can they prepare themselves for the diverse and dynamic challenges within these industries?
Well, what I would say, Kwaku, is there's two things I would say and two pieces of advice I would give. And the first one is I would encourage people to stay hungry. And the second one is I want to re-echo again, like I said before, is don't embrace failure. Those are the two words of advice I would give to anybody. And like you said, I think a lot of people, a more formal education isn't for them. And some people just don't have access to a more formal education. And there's other resources that are available for people that are hungry enough to learn new skills and find a creative output. People make jokes about Google University or YouTube University, but what's called, like, when I was in high school, that's how I learned the entire Adobe suite. And so by the time I got to university and I started taking what's called more hands-on classes with the Adobe suite, it was just like I was already far ahead. And so those are the two pieces of advice I would give to anybody, is just make sure you're hungry and you want it, and don't be afraid to to fail at something. I think a lot of people kind of get in their head about the current skill set that they have, and they're like, oh, well, I'm in this field or that field, and I'm not really inept to like the creative industry. But I think in any industry that you're in, I think it's important that you find your creative outlet.
For me, like for advice wise, I definitely would say treat your craft as an investment. That's your life investment. That's something that represents you, that represents everything that you make and stuff like that. So I'd say more so of like, if you want to become more of, could be an editor, you want to be a director, you want to be a producer, a graphic designer, any sorts of that, seek steps towards growth. Treat it as like an everyday step and investment towards your future, because that's something that shapes you as yourself. And it may come off as like a little scary or a little lost or empty and or vague, if anything. But but think of it as like a puzzle piece. Like you're as you put more puzzles, your path becomes a lot more clear. It becomes a lot more visible. And I just say, like, definitely keep trying at like learning new things. Keep seeing your own mistakes. See the things that you want to improve on, things that you want to strive as a creative uh that you want to become in the future, and keep going at it. And you'll definitely see from back then up until now in the future or in the present that of how far you came. And there's plenty of more potential where that comes from, right? There's basically definitely become the better you than you were yesterday. So always keep that in mind.
Really great. I'm glad you all shared that, just reflecting on, times I've seen you all in school, and as well, like many things were done outside of school, and many relationships were built, many projects and so forth, that speak to what you were saying before you even had a degree, and so the opportunity is always there, outside of those formalized spaces. And even on the same theme, our next question kind of speaks to that, and so I kind of want to zoom in on you as individuals, sharing more about, things you've done in the past, things you've sort of experienced. And so the question is, can you share, real life examples of successful projects or initiatives within your creative careers that have made a significant impact on society, or left a lasting impression on audiences, or yourself, or your community, your family, some of the projects you had the opportunity to be a part of?
So last August I went to Nashville, Tennessee, and it's a completely different culture down there. It's like, obviously they're really big on country music, but one of the things that they do is they're really big on live music. And anywhere you go in the city, every venue you go to, you don't see a DJ or anything like that. It's always live music, every floor. You went to Taco Bell, and Taco Bell had live music, which was really, really crazy. And so when I came back to Toronto, I'm like, there's not a lot of places in Toronto where not only do you not get to see a lot of live music, but on the flip side, there's a lot of artists that don't get the opportunity to perform in front of a live audience. And so in April, that's when we did the Invisible concert, where we kind of gave local artists an opportunity to perform and get paid to do it as well, in front of a live audience. And it was the first time we were able to do that. And it's something that moving forward, I'm looking to do on an ongoing basis. And we partnered up with the Soho House, and they really liked it. It was a really successful event. So hopefully we'll host a couple more of those.
For myself, like I remember about 2 years ago, I believe I was working at a remote job during COVID for a company that was helping like small local businesses around like Ontario. And the job was okay at start, like it was like fun here and there, but then I kind of like started to grow a little tired for a bit of just like working with that same job, the same people and the same things. And then after when my contract was up, I decided to take a break and wanted to seek more towards my creative journey and stuff like that. So I wanted to try out new things. And within that time span of like a 6 month break, so basically I took like half a year off, I used that time to try new things. Within that time span, I've traveled a lot, but I've also produced a music video for the first time. And that was a lot of fun. Like I actually really enjoyed being on set rather than just being by myself in front of a computer. Rather, I want to take my skills and the things that represents me, but onto like the actual field with other people and interact with them. And that was a really great opportunity. It was really fun. And that was thanks to the connections I made during COVID too, where I made a lot of friends online and stuff. And I've gotten with that time and experience where it's like, okay, I want to do this again. Actually, I want to keep producing music videos. This is something fun. And I actually went on to carry on and produce two more right after that. And then I've also I learned a new skill. Like I've always been like I mentioned before, like I've been always fascinated by animation and like the whole motion of just motion in general. And I wanted to try out 3D for the first time. So I used a software called Blender, and I learned how to like animate in 3D, and I've create 3D animation visualizers and music videos out of that. And then for the first time I've worked with an artist with that, and I had a lot of fun. It was great to make it. It was like a new path experience. It's like, okay, I don't have to just do that one thing I've always been known for doing. I could also do this too and get even better with it. So within that time span, I've traveled a lot. I've done a new skill. I've tried producing music videos. I've done all sorts of things, and I was happy. Like I actually felt free, and I felt like it involved creative. Like I felt like I was definitely better than I was like the past previous few months and like the few years as a creative. So yeah, I took the time to like, discover new things for myself and tried out new things to further evolve myself as a creative. And that's something I definitely recommend anyone else that's watching this right now, where it's like, you know what, keep going at what you're doing, but also expand a little bit. And you never know, you might find something that you might enjoy, and you could take back home to your playing field of like, what you do. So yeah, that was my journey of learning new things.
I think for me in the past year, one reoccurring opportunity that I got to be a part of was just being a part of writing camps and songwriting camps. Like, I think those are, as a producer, an artist, an engineer, a songwriter, a photographer, like anything related like that into the music industry, it's such a great opportunity to get your foot in the door. You meet managers, you meet artists, you meet producers, you grow your network incredibly, and you just also grow your skill set because you're in an environment where you're working with people who have been in the game for like 10 plus years and people who are just starting out, and you get to be a mentor to some and you also get to be mentored by others. So it's just such a great space for you to develop yourself, develop your individuality within those spaces, see what you can offer to people, see what people like about you and what you like about others, and just be able to further your career because you take those connections after and you can, start working with those people after, work on your own projects, work on their projects, and just kind of build towards new things from those spaces. And I feel like those are also really safe spaces because everyone is on the same page about the end goal. So everyone's there trying to create something, trying to make something magical, trying to make something different. And you get to see people's experiences just by the way they write a lyric or the way they make a sound or the way they take a picture or the way they deliver a story. You get to see so many different perspectives, and it's honestly amazing. Like, it's really inspiring, and I think it's a great space for young creatives who are trying to get their foot in the door to really expand themselves in those spaces.
Great. Like, amazing. Like, just hearing your responses, able to, like, draw a visual of the different themes that, you brought up. Like, even, Malik, coming from, Nashville to Toronto, you saw a need that could happen in Toronto, and your project was, let me create the same type of space so that artists can showcase their work. Christoph, saying, hey, I'm not happy here. I think I could do better. Let me try out new things. And then you taking that lead to step out and say, okay, let me take a break. And then that opens you up to more projects to increase your learning and skill building. And that's a project that, created a big impact, producing music videos. Jess, you so well, outlined the importance of, creating more spaces for collaboration, especially in the music industry, songwriting camps, working with, collaborating with different producers to create records and so forth. So along the lines of, spaces to showcase work, spaces for collaboration, spaces for exploration. So just to share with you the impact that you three had. So thank you so much. Our last question, just to further some more advice for our young audiences watching, but more, specific resources that they can access. And so the question is, how can young participants, leverage their unique skills and passions to explore different pathways within the creative industries? More specifically, what are different resources that are currently available that you've accessed, that you're aware of, that are available in Canada to help navigate young people with their career journeys in the creative industries?
Kwaku, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift demographics a little bit, and I want to speak to the people that are specifically in the STEM field, because I feel like a lot of people in the STEM field have a unique skill set, and they really discount their their creative abilities in many respects. And a great examples of like people that are in STEM that have like a great creative output. And I encourage everybody that's in STEM to find your creative output in your career. You see YouTubers like Mark Rober that combine like science and engineering in a form of that's like transformative education. Or you see what tech companies are doing with like new technology where they're implementing, like I said before, like augmented reality and virtual reality and these types of things to create like immersive creative experiences. So just because you're in science, technology, math, engineering, whatever the case is, doesn't mean that you don't have a creative bone in your body. And I would encourage you to explore that and find a unique creative output. When it comes to resources that that you can lean on to, I would always encourage people to find a mentor and something that interests you, like Jess had mentioned before about finding a mentor and really leaning off those people. I know the Soho House has like a mentorship program that some people can apply for. You can have a member as a mentor, but there's a lot of opportunities, like just like someone that you look up to that's like in a creative field, like, hey, like, can I shadow you? Can you teach me, or do you have time to explain this? And have like have coffee or lunch with somebody. So find your creative output, regardless of what you do.
And even just to add on to Malik, like reach out to people who you know will benefit off of something that you can offer them. Like if you are, for example, for me as a producer, I also engineer. So I can sit in a session with somebody and make a beat with somebody and also track them right after making a beat, like combine your skill set and give them a greater package of what you can offer them, because that will give you value that will give them a reason to come back to you. A lot of people have one thing to offer somebody and it's very surface level. Like break that surface level, build friendships, build connections, like give yourself, be more personable, give yourself something more to offer that people will be like, hey, like, you know what? Like more than just being able to work with you, I can connect with you. And I think that's really important in this industry because it the creative industry overall has become so saturated. So there is more of a chance that people will come back to you if there's something niche about you that they like, and more like that you can offer to somebody.
Actually, going on the line with the creative bone thing that Malik mentioned, I've seen people that have like studied like completely different, like opposite like fields of something else. Like I had a friend of mine that graduated from engineering in university, and then the year later he just became a filmmaker and he started shooting advertisements for like Jeep, Nike, like all these big brands and stuff like that. Like you don't have to be stuck with the one thing that you kind of like put yourself into. Like there's always other things as well. And like I mentioned before, like the creative world is literally like a tree branch. Like as you go further and further up the tree, there's way more opportunities, different like there's different roles, there's different opportunities, there's different things to do and stuff like that. So if you become like a videographer, for example, you don't have to just do like video, like camera work. You can do lighting, you can do lighting design. So aka in other words, you could be a gaffer. You could also be more into directing. And then from there, you can also do all sorts of different things. You can do script writing, you could do every single other aspect of like within that film industry. And it's the same thing of any other industry as well. Like if you're a graphic designer, you can also do web design, you can do motion design, you can do all sorts of things. So definitely keep exploring, definitely try out things, like be experimental. That's the best thing that you could definitely do as a creative or as just a person in general that wants to delve into the creative industry. And of course, like in terms of opportunities, like the internet's your best friend, of course. Like the like definitely like the internet's a huge world where there's like a lot of resources. There's a lot of like free resources too, especially. And YouTube, especially like there's like a lot of YouTubers that will give you like a lot of like tutorials, information, advice on like how to become X, Y, and Z. And it's very resourceful, it's very useful. And then like that's just kind of basically the gist of it. There's a lot of things to explore. And of course, make new friends. Like don't be afraid to talk to people. That's like a very huge thing in industry is like you have to be sociable. You have to talk to people. You have to like reach out to other people at like definitely like that's the way of how to like make connections and how to like further grow your career and your path as a creative of whatever you want to be and stuff like that. So definitely step your foot out there, and then you will see how things like flow your way and stuff like that. Despite the obstacle, despite like any like path blocks or anything like that, like there's always things to bring you right back up and grow as more as a person. So have fun. That's the best. That's one of the best advices that I can give you when as a creative. Literally have fun. Don't don't be stuck treating like your own skills as like just a work or as a job. Like you definitely want to also definitely have fun with these things, because if you don't have fun of it, then you're not gonna bring out most of your creative juices out there to try out new things and seek out any ideas and opportunities out there. So definitely have fun of it. Enjoy and love what you do. That's definitely a very huge important thing as a creative. And you'll definitely grow more and more in love with like the things that you do as you carry on in events as a creative. So have fun, enjoy yourself, and we'll definitely see you in sometime in the future. Maybe if we cross paths, because you never know. The world is small. So
We do have some youth who have submitted some questions, and so I'm going to share one of the questions from our young people, and I think it touches on a pretty interesting topic that we've all been, discussing, and have integrated as part of our work. And so I'm going to share the question. So I'm going to read it as if I'm the young person. So, hello, my name is Nola Charles. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm located in Vancouver, British Columbia. With the advancement of AI and the news coming out about the potential threat that could have on graphic design, media, art, etc., what steps do you think is important to take as a future artist, or somebody who wants to get into media, wherever, what are some of the steps that you can take to make sure you're going on the right path that will be beneficial, especially with the advancement of artificial intelligence?
Well, Nola, so one of the things that it's very difficult for machine to replace human. It's I'll say that right off the bat. But when it comes to like graphic design, AI, it's important that you understand the limitations of the technology and what it's able to do. And if you understand the limits of it, you can use it as a tool to help you. So if you were going into graphic design and you know that AI can do certain generative tasks like creating text or certain images, you can use that as a tool to advance, I would say, your current skill set. So rather than view it more so as a threat or a competition, think of it how you can actually utilize AI and then you can develop your skill set in areas where AI doesn't work. So just understand the technology, the technological limitations, and then go based off that. And I would say that with anything that involves technology.
and to add on to what Malik's saying, that was actually really good advice. In general, AI will never replace us as human beings, like when it comes to like creative designs, because again, like there's only so much that AI can do. It's AI is based off like the internet's digital data collection of like every single type of art form that exists on the internet. But it's just basically just taking things from like just what's already made, when you have yourself right now that can make something that's new completely right now. So I wouldn't fear too much about like AI replacing yourself. There's definitely yourself, or anyone else, especially like, or everyone I should say, and of course yourself, duh. But um you can make your own. You still have yourself, you still have your own unique ideas. That's something that AI can't replace, is because like, again, it's very limited. It's a growing technology, but at the same time it's not something that can never be human. It's not something that can create something from the heart, from your mind, your soul, all that stuff. Not to sound too deep, but seriously though, like you can make, like you still, you yourself, like you make your own things based off your own mind, your own things that you think of. So yeah, don't have any fear. And again, you can use AI as your own tools as well. Like it's a very helpful resource, and you can even use AI to help you create ideas and stuff like that, and go based off that. But all in all, it won't replace you, so don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I think Christoph and Malik both pretty much covered it. Like, AI is a tool, and it's a great tool to help you enhance your craft. But at the end of the day, like, as a human being, human beings trust and resonate with other human beings. So I think like having a heart and being personable is really, really important as a creative, and you can't replicate that by AI. You can make AI like have emotions and do all that stuff, and I think that it's really important to have that trust with other creatives, because that's how you really create something like meaningful. So I think that's something that isn't really a huge threat as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for those great responses. So I like the stance as artists and creatives you three have taken on saying, hey, like it doesn't replace the, human touch that is essential to the creative industries. And so thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate your participation, your contributions, and the impact that you will have on, young Canadians watching this as they participate in Take Our Kids to Work Day and sharing your expertise. And so Malik, Christoph, Jess, thank you so much. And there you have it, a glimpse into the captivating world of art, media, and design careers. I'm sure you'll agree that creativity truly has the power to shape the way we perceive and interact with the world around us. Our heartfelt thanks goes out to our incredible panelists, Jessica Persady, Christoph Edwards, and Malik Hines, for sharing their wisdom, insights, and passion with us today. As you continue on your creative journey, remember the stories, advice, and encouragement you've received here. The power to create, innovate, and impact is in your hands. We're excited for the artistry you'll bring to the world and look forward to witnessing your unique contributions to the creative landscape. Keep the flames of creativity burning, and remember that your voice, your vision, and your imagination have the potential to transform lives and inspire generations to come. Thank you for joining us in this enlightening conversation, and may your creative endeavors be filled with boundless inspirations and success.